Ho, ho, ho! Welcome to Cursed Content Club. I'm your host, Chris Wolfhart Kringle. With me, as always, are Dan and Bob Video Games. No, Dan and Bob Video Gifts of gigatrees.com.
I can't top that, so I'm just gonna say, Merry this.
And Dr. Krampus, who is also from GigaBoots.
I hope you'll enjoy this movie as much as we will.
Oh, God.
Well, I am in the spirit for a good film.
As your Christmas present, we have returned to the well of Hallmark films. You know, last time we did this, there was an obvious winner that was only defeated by the power of Frasier.
Yeah, right. You can't hold it against this film for not being able to beat up Frasier Crane. That's ridiculous.
But it would be foolish to include this film in a voting round for Hallmark movies because it has history, and that's just not fair.
Right.
So, as your free Christmas present, here is Cursed Content Club, The Spirit of Christmas, the movie where she f***s a ghost.
God.
Spirits can do anything they like, can't they?
I feel lucky to have missed out on the last one of these recordings. So I was either sick or at work. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, I think it was a Black Friday situation. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It was pretty crazy at the time.
I just remember I was here for it, and that was like a shot called from space.
Right. I'm so excited. You need to understand the self-control I had to have for the last couple of years or how long it's been. It feels like forever that it's just been, I can't watch that. We may do it for content someday.
I'm also very excited because while Mr. Saint Nick, I think is what the Frasier one was called.
Yes.
While that was a Hallmark Christmas movie, it almost feels like it doesn't count because it was clearly from the era of when they weren't making 45 of these a year.
Right. Also, I feel like
it had real actors.
It had real actors. Like it was before I think the madness set in with Hallmark, where they didn't view themselves exclusively as a brand for middle-aged white women, where that was a movie kind of aimed at the whole family. And from what I've seen, just watching the Hallmark Channel and other things like it, they just make a movie like this every year now. Not quite as bold as to actually have ghost fucking. Hopefully this fully delivers, who knows?
Every Hallmark movie is just professional white woman falls for idealized template that you could conceive that your husband would be if you successfully fix him.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Exactly. And, we were talking about how it's kind of like Mad Libs before the recording. And the funniest part is they put holes in the script, but not in the places you would expect. Like, it's always like blank wealthy white woman. Like, you don't get to choose those two things, but it's moderately or insanely wealthy.
A lot of people give Hallmark movies gruff for all being the same movie, but I thought about it and I realized, I will watch any Chang Che Kung Fu movie to the end of time, and they're all the same goddamn movie.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no complaints about them doing that. It's just a necessary point of before they didn't always do that. It's like if you had to explain to someone that at some point MTV didn't used to make cowboy films because at some point MTV went insane and they decided their demographic was people who really loved cowboys exclusively.
I mean, if that market was out there and they found it.
Right?
Now, Aggro, to go back for a second, it's always cool and impressive to see someone do a spin kick. That is not true about watching a white woman settle.
Yeah.
But he spin kicked her heart.
I hope he does. That could be really entertaining to see. But yeah, I don't know. I think the distinction there is there's... How do I put this? Okay, you know what? We always have the expectation segment, so this is leading straight into that.
Okay.
If this movie does one shot that looks remotely impressive or overly competent, I'll be impressed. Because these things are made on such insanely tight schedules with such lack of ambition that I think the closest we're going to get is a kind of slipshod crane shot of a car driving down a street. I think that's the most impressive shot we're going to get out of this, but I don't know. Bob, what are your expectations?
Rock bottom.
So you think Dwayne Johnson's going to show up and just...
Will this movie be better or worse than The Test?
Oh, it'll be better than that. I feel like pretty confident will actually be less offensive than that was.
The Test was a little bit of a horror film, though.
It was.
It was very gripping in a sense.
I think this will just be incredibly plain and non-offensive.
Also, you can't really have the psychological abuse that took place in The Test with a ghost. He's dead.
Yeah, but we don't know what era he's from, so he could like say slurs.
She's like, but I forgive him. And her black coworker's like, that's really not your place to do.
I mean, we don't exactly know the plot. We just watched the trailer. That could be like an old plantation that she's trying to move because she's a real estate worker.
Oh, no. I feel like there's no way it's anything but a ghost that's recently died.
Oh, no, he died a century ago. That's
no.
on screen in text right now. That's all I know.
If this took place anywhere where there wouldn't be snow, that would be in the title.
I'm excited. Agra, what are your expectations?
I'm thinking that much like he did in the movie Casper, Ray Stans is going to show up and also fuck a ghost.
Does everyone get one? Is this inn just full of fuckable ghosts? What is going on?
It's like a bed and breakfast.
Bed and Sexmas.
I'm gonna call the ending of this movie right now. The fucking romance is gonna happen. She's gonna help this ghost go to rest. It'll be very sad. The ending will be her meeting what is obviously this guy's descendant, who is played by the same actor.
I'm going to go walk into the ocean if that happens. Just to be clear, audience, when you hear the door open and close, once that starts happening, that's where I went.
You know what? It's going to be exactly that, but that descendant is going to die. Like something where he's knocked out completely and basically dead, and the ghost will possess him. And they'll act like this is good.
Wow.
Oh God, that's another very terrifying possibility where it's like, before you vanish, my ex is comatose from being in a car wreck. Yeah, it's either gonna be like descendant from the same actor, or as Bob horrifyingly put into the cards, body theft.
The single best ending this movie could have is a version of Chris's, except for the descendant's female, and our main character looks at the camera and goes, "Good enough, I'm bi," and just works out.
It's a Hallmark movie. There's no way.
I know. It's
Yeah,
from
not if Hallmark
2015.
is not brave enough to have her off herself for love.
Oh my God! Wait, is that one version of this in your head where she's like,
No,
I miss my ghost. Looks at a shotgun. Oh my God!
That'll be wacky. She'll come to terms with the fact that they can't really be together and then accidentally get hit by a bus.
So real quick though, we gotta. Doesn't that just isekai someone though?
The afterlife counts as an isekai.
Fair enough. We're gonna establish which would be worse. The ghost is put to rest, and she just deals with that, and the movie ends, and she's wistful and whatever. Or the ghost is put to rest, and the ancestor is here, and she's like, "Yay, romance can still happen." Which one of these is like more severe?
I think that all depends on the context in which it happens.
Okay.
I would say, like, with no additional factors, the latter is way more hacky.
But I feel like if I watch the movie up to that point, that's like the way out of the building. And to me, that's the complication, because I agree with you, but I feel like that's better than the alternative in this case.
Yeah,
I don't want to watch this movie where she gets to fuck a ghost and then just goes, "I sure fucked that ghost."
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine this movie having the emotional complexity of her having to like have loved and lost.
Oh no, they
ghost?
won't frame it like lost. It'll just end on a diary scene where she's like, "And that was the Christmas I fucked a ghost."
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
We could always just have it. Well, the ghost just haunted the house forever, and they lived as lovers like that.
Oh, that's also horrible.
Oh my God.
This is why we had to do this movie. There's no good exit. Every exit has a bomb on it.
What if her last lover died and she's moved here to get away from it, and not being able to actually fuck this ghost is how she learns to let go?
Oh, I thought you were not being able to fuck this ghost is now her new kink, and she's so turned on by the fact she can't get any from him. Anyways, this could go any number of ways. We need to know. I've been waiting. So let's get over to the commentary. If you're not a patron already, you could go become a patron of patreon.com/GB podcast and get access to that commentary. Watch the movie with us. Anyways, let's go to the movie.
And we're back. The Spirit of Christmas is a movie with no ending. In it, an unlikable woman and an unlikable ghost man spit in the face of God, but to what degree is left unsaid. So, Dan, what did you think of The Spirit of Christmas?
I expected more from the film. I didn't expect a great film, but I expected a little bit more. It's really weird how you get left with the feeling of the scope of it is so much smaller than even I expected. There's so few locations. There's so few characters. It's kind of insane. I really thought the ending would take it even one mild step out of the thing you had seen the entire film, basically, and it really didn't do that. Man, given our cursed content scale of -5 to 5, I'm going to have to give this a -2. It wasn't deeply offensive. I would just say it was quite possibly violently mundane, aggressively average, to a point where it just every opportunity is an opportunity to show you lost potential. That's how it feels watching this. It's a shame. Ghost fucking should be exciting, and yet, spoilers: there is no ghost fucking.
Hey, it's implied in some of those transitions.
Bob.
Yeah, this movie really was a lot less happening than it might be expected from a movie. But this is a Hallmark movie. I came in knowing that, so I figured it'd be one location and almost nothing would happen. And it checked those boxes real well. I don't feel like it was that offensive. We were able to theory craft about where the movie was going the entire time, which made it a little bit more fun. I'm going to give it a 0 because it was utterly unoffensive, but also just really boring.
Aggro.
This was a movie with a very simple, straightforward premise that almost guaranteed that it would at least be interesting. And this movie doesn't give a shit about its premise. It ignores it entirely. You think Daniel What's-His-Fuck is the one who got cucked? I got cucked out of a ghost fucking movie. This is a -3 only because how... Oh, okay, whatever. The rest of it is.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sitting where Bob sat. This movie was fine to watch with other people. It would have been excruciating alone.
Yeah.
0 is also where I'm sitting, and it did give me the energy of like a 7th Chin game where it's like, we have one location, 6 models for characters.
Yeah, I'm used to seeing this incredibly small scope when you have an interesting concept for a movie and it's an indie film. I'm not used to seeing it when it's okay, we're going to do this thing. And Aggro said, they really didn't care about their own premise. They didn't develop it in an interesting way. There was no mystery they were unraveling. He didn't remember.
Nope.
And then he did.
There were no ghost hijinks. He was just an asshole.
Yeah, he's hardly even depicted as a ghost.
I believe you ended the commentary track basically by going, he could have just not been a ghost. That's very possible and could have been the same film. I would like to know, I got stunning revelation at the end of this as I was looking at what Daniel Forsyth's actor, which is the ghost, by the way, what else he had been in. Because at first when I looked at it, it was just like, look at all these romantic comedies and some series you've never heard of. And Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022.
What?
He's apparently the voice and likeness actor for some character you unlock after the prison break level. He's one of the spec GRU operators, and I just started having a stroke. I'm like, no. What? Video games are weird now.
Yeah, that's...
You're telling me he's in a modern shooter and it wasn't Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon?
Well, that's not modern anymore. They haven't made any in the last 10 years.
When they bring it back, they'll be like, with the ghost fucker you all know and love. Well, I guess he's the ghost fucky. I don't know how that would work.
It's stunning to like look at his IMDb and it's like Hallmark movie. It's like all Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
And then Call of Duty.
Yes, it was a sucker punch. It was like the orange you glad I didn't say banana of careers. Anyway, I just needed to get that out here because that... I never would have connected that dot. He looked really different with a full-ass beard and in fucking military garb.
Yeah, I bet.
Wait, does that mean that she might come to Call of Duty too?
Oh. I will say, though, this picture of him makes me think that they need to get him for the next, like, HP Lovecraft game. I think he'd make the great scholar.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh my god.
I see it. Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to say, get him in a Horizon.
He really looks like the kind of guy, you know, he'd show up with a lantern and a book and you go, he's against miscegenation. Yeah.
We have some segments to get to.
Sure. I can pack all my baggage into those. Let's go.
Let's go. We'll start with the best character, Aggro. Who's the best character?
Yeah, glad it isn't me. I need more seconds to try to elect one of these fucking dwarfs.
Best character.
The tallest.
I'm going to go with the sheriff.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he was in the movie.
Yeah, he was.
Briefly.
He showed up to this white woman complaining that her house had been broken into and just gave her the, yeah, sure. Didn't care about her self-reported traumatic head wound and just fucked off. He doesn't have time for this. He doesn't get paid for this.
He's a small-time
This is a
sheriff.
quiet town with good people, and nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
He didn't need her bringing in her big city trouble.
Oh, you fucking Boston people coming in here getting your head traumas.
According to her boss, this is like a resort town with ski lodges, so he probably gets overly dramatic rich white woman got wine drunk in the middle of the day and fell down the stairs like at least 3 times a week.
Yeah, sincerely, this town in the movie is the town they literally shot the movie in for all intents and purposes. This is just the town that Hallmark always comes to film these fucking films. So they probably just went, hey, how tired are you of white women calling you over nothing? I'm very, very exhausted.
You know, it does occur to me just now that, like, the ghost being a thing is a known quantity for the guy who owns this inn.
Yeah.
That sheriff might just be on the take.
He might, yeah.
He's on the ghost take.
Yeah, he seems chill enough to get that news and just not care.
I'm imagining, like, Daniel Forsythe cornering Kate in a room like, you can't go to the police. I own the police.
I know, right? Holy shit, that's a different film. God,
this was shot in Wrentham, Massachusetts.
God, that's the whitest thing I've ever heard.
Which is one of those towns where it's like, we're rich enough that our Walmart has to look like a cabin.
Oh.
Do you think this town kind of treats like you know that town that the Waltons made rich with all these museums and shit? Mm-hmm. Do you think this is the Hallmark version of that? We made you rich with as much as we could afford. We're Hallmark. Come on now. We're not the Walmarts. We're not the Waltons over here.
Dan, who's the best character?
Fuck, I was hoping for even more than one more. Okay, shit, give me a second. I'm gonna say her boss for most of the film. I think there's an almost betrayal of the character at the end where he's like, I do just exploit you because you work too much. And I'm like, he wouldn't say that. But I liked his performance at multiple different points in time as he gets tired of this fucking shit, as this person he normally gets to, sick on anyone or anything to get his will done is just dealing with her own shit for once, I suppose, and that's just too much for him, man. He's so disappointed. I'm going to give it to him because, frankly, no other characters are rising to the top.
Bob.
I'm going to choose the old innkeeper. He's not great. He's not spectacular, but no one in this movie is, and he's somewhat nice to everyone.
I noticed he can act.
A little bit.
Yeah, which kind of does help in a film like this at identifying what is not a character being acted on screen.
Fuck, there's so few choices.
Right.
Damn.
It's not a large cast to begin with.
I guess I'll go with Daniel because, one, he's kind of funny. But two, it's just really endearing, that scene where he's just eating an entire chicken.
With a grilled cheese in one hand.
Yeah. With a grilled cheese in one hand. Like, he has the fork eating this roast chicken, an entire roast chicken, and a grilled cheese in the other hand.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping the movie would have more things like that, where it's like, oh, all his senses are heightened, so he does all these things. But then they immediately forget that plot point.
I thought that line was to lead into, so he's horny as hell. I don't know. You said all his senses were heightened, and I'm like, okay. No, apparently not. All right. Hallmark movies aren't horny enough. That's the real conclusion.
They really do need like an After Dark imprint.
Yes, they
do. Worst character time, Dan.
Oh, the choices. Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Drowning for fucking options. I'm gonna have to go with the main character though. Here's why. Kate's performance is frankly one of the worst I've ever seen from a main character in a Hallmark thing, and I've watched a decent amount of them. She doesn't do anything memorable with her performance at all. Like, Bob, I was going to say, like, you said earlier that you didn't have much expectations. You expected few environments, few scenes, so locations, rather, and you didn't expect much ambition. But even the ones where we've watched, where it's just like, I have an evil twin sister.
Yeah, or the other one where she has an evil
person who's faking being a sister.
God.
Even those have multiple scenes where they stand in different locations and have a panic attack. And that's more than this movie did. Our main character, look, I'm not going to say she was handed gold, but her performance is the most forgettable thing about this film. I'm going to say she's even coming in below a Twilight level delivery. There's nothing here for me to remember about her performance. And also her character's bad. Let me put it this way. Her character could have just as easily been portrayed by the actress who plays Bones on Bones. And it would have been delivered to be the same character, but far more sociopathic and crazy. Which would have worked perfectly.
Aggro, who do you think the worst character is?
Daniel's creepy incel brother, hands down.
Yeah.
That is...
Yeah, he's
it's bad.
Yeah, listening to him, like, cry, throw Daniel under the bus is one thing, but then watching him fail to comfortingly hug that woman in anything approaching a normal human way.
That hug is fucking rough.
Let me touch your hair.
When you hug someone, your hug is supposed to feel like a net was just cast on them, right? That's how that's supposed to feel emotionally and physically.
You can't escape my commiseration.
Now I'm really curious because obviously the writer for this has only written Hallmark movies and has written like 40 of them. How many Hallmark movies on average have the incel?
Usually, I bet they're more the coworker incel and less the brother incel.
Yeah, it's usually less of a panicked, whiny incel and more of like a platonic best friend who doesn't have a shot character.
Yeah, I feel like this guy was really... The movie did not highlight how intensely, like, gross and everything this guy is.
There's not usually like a shoehorned in non-murder mystery plot.
Yeah. I don't know. There's like, when it came to this character specifically, okay? I feel like they wrote that scene and they're like, it'll be ambiguous. And then they saw it portrayed and went, oh, that's actually really creepy feeling. Like somehow the script was not ready for it.
And the really weird part is he wasn't involved in the murder at all.
Yeah, that was surprising. I guess he was a red herring.
He's just a weird incel.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I'm next. I'm gonna go with murderer cousin who looks like Ben Shapiro. I do think it's really funny when they out him as the murderer. They put him like in like the 1915 thug hat. Like if he wasn't 90 pounds soaking wet, he'd be one of the guys going, "It's the bat."
I do love how he's like, Daniel, if you gain emotional closure, I go straight to hell.
Yes.
Now, I don't know, cousin. Did you ever try like seeking absolution from a priest? And he looks at him like, "Oh no, I forgot." Boy. Bob, who's the worst character?
This is actually a little tough. There are two that I think are strong contenders. But I'm going to go with Daniel's dead wife because she married him exclusively for his house. And that's really messed up. And she shouldn't admit it, at least.
Yeah.
The implication seemed to be that that's how he interpreted it, but she did not feel seriously that way.
You say that, but the ending is literally, whatever, fuck whatever you want. I'm over you. Bye.
Yeah, I feels like they really try and paste on her actually caring about him at the end, but everything she says to him in the flashbacks is like, no, you don't.
You want my take on this?
Okay.
Here's my take on this. They wrote that character, and then at some point, someone who's either a co-writer or director or whatever gets to have feedback on the script and goes, don't you think the audience will feel a little sad that she doesn't end up with the guy at the end? And they went, well, we better write some really gross dialogue for them to be like, she didn't deserve Daniel.
That's why her hair is never done up as nicely as Kate's.
That is correct. That is always the case in these two.
I just get this impression that when you write these movies for a long enough period of time, like you lose the ability to portray human beings.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
This has got to unravel your brain.
Like they become like you start to view everyone as these weird archetypical automatons.
Look.
Yeah, eventually the main character's will force the love to happen no matter what. So you can just write whatever leading to it.
You remember that scene in the third Matrix film when Neo's blinded and he sees the fire smith in front of him? That's how they see all human forms and shape. Vaguely human, but just an element of nature.
Cause the lady who wrote this wrote 4 of these a year.
Oh.
Welcome to the GigaBoots Podcast Network, the second most ambitious dehumanizing project on Earth.
It's like, say what you want about her output. She's working.
Yeah, no, imagine doing even one rewrite due to feedback on any of these. Mm-hmm. You're pretending my script's not good enough for what we're making here. I want you to think about that. Spend a moment thinking about that, and then come back and tell me what's wrong with my script.
I guess we need to go to best scene. I'll start us off on best scene. I can actually remember a lot of the scenes. It's just like, which tortilla is the best tortilla?
I know, the whole movie's the same thing over and over.
There's so few scenes that deviate enough from all the other scenes that they stand out.
I guess I'll go with... I don't want to go with this. I already mentioned the scene of him eating, so I don't want to go with that. So I guess I'll go with...
There's so many, though.
I guess I'll go with the second time she calls the sheriff. And he's just like, ma'am, do you want me to stay here and protect you from the Phantom Killer?
The sheriff should have been the only one in the movie allowed to mug to the camera.
He already almost did.
Just because he's addressing the main character who is the audience demographic.
Bob, what's the best scene?
Oh my God. Okay. All right, I can do this.
At least you got to go second and not like fourth.
Well, the best shot
Best food he ate.
is when he remembers his death. We just get a shot of him like back to the ground, mouth agape, and blood coming out of the back of his head.
It's true. That is the best shot.
But I guess I need a full scene. So I'm going to say the scene that he talks about how he basically goes to hell whenever he's not in the living world.
Yeah, that is a lore ramification scene right there.
Yes.
What's it like when you're not here? A nightmare I can't wake up from. And she just moves past that.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say it was going to be awesome.
That doesn't sound like my problem.
Yeah, she's a sociopath. We've been over that.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, you have to go next.
Oh, thank God. I'm sorry, Aggro, if this is what you were going to choose. So upstairs, he wishes away his cousin by having closure, and the man just fades away. And not only was that funny because of the ramifications within the scene, but that's when my brain started going wild and went, he just has this power, and now he's going to wish away the white blonde woman. He's just going to do that with his hand, and he's going to be like, I have closure. Be gone, Spectre.
This movie should have ended like Poltergeist, and the whole house disappears.
That'd be really good.
What the fuck happened to the house? I sent you down there, Kate. I don't know what to tell you. It's fucking gone.
The fucking trust has insurance. Tell them to get over it. Aggro, you have to go last. I'm sorry.
No, this is easy. Hands down.
Really?
The breakup scene. Before this movie forgets there's a ghost in it, before this movie forgets that it's trying to ape Kate and Leopold, they put in the breakup scene from You've Got Mail, but they sort of get it wrong. So instead of it being this bloodless end to a pointless relationship, we get Kate being an awful bitch.
Yes.
So instead of establishing that maybe there's something missing in her life, or that she's had some troubles that she's going to go try to recover from, we establish that she's kind of mean and she's doing fine with it.
Yeah.
Before she goes down to this resort town and meets another psychopath. They fall in love. Like she eats that guy's dinner like it's a fucking Tarantino movie.
She does have some real like stereotypical girl boss energy in that first scene.
Mm-hmm. I swear to God, that scene was in a drawer. And they just like she pulled it out and put it in this script, and it was not for this character.
Yeah.
But as there is darkness, there must as there is light, there must also be darkness. So we have to say the worst scene. Bob, what's the worst scene? I get that it's like which slice of bread is worse.
Yeah, like as I said, this movie is pretty unoffensive. This is gonna be tough.
Well, Bob, you can just pick it based on the food that was in the shot if you want.
There we go. When Daniel is eating an apple with a knife in the slowest way known to man.
Which time?
That's
the first time, because it was a surprise the first time. After that, I'm used to it.
Bob's like, I'm numb. He's been eating it for 3 scenes now.
It is very strange. Like it has this energy like he's eating, like, I don't know, dried lamb or something.
Is this something that's historically accurate in some way?
I know there's a stereotype about like old-timey salt of the earth people just peeling an apple with a pocket knife and just eating it sliced up.
I mean, I eat apples like that sometimes.
Yes, what did I just say?
Cut it with a knife.
I'm in the room with him right now.
The apple is coming from inside the house.
Yeah, something's extra weird about walking around with the knife cutting up to eat it. Like, I don't know. I'm used to like easy to do the
Bob
whole
is
thing.
calling you weird. Are you gonna take that from him?
Yeah, so what I'm asking here is, do you just cut the whole thing up and then eat it slowly, or do
You just cut off a piece at a time, so you're not I have a beard, man.
Okay.
The best part of this is
I'm not
the
going to
whole
go peach diving into an.
the whole film. I'm watching this and I'm like, this is something aggro does.
I manipulate white women.
Okay, he has a. Okay, so I didn't consider the beard angle.
Aggro waits in properties waiting to be rented to pretend he's a ghost and fuck white women.
Good plan, I guess.
If it works.
I'll go second. The scene near the end where they're dancing and seemingly just to stop the romance from progressing a little too much at this point in time, the sheriff cuts in a way that seems unnatural and bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
I feel like it could have worked if you wrote this really differently. It really didn't work here. It seems so unnatural, so bizarre.
Aggro, what's the worst scene?
Okay, so damn, I had the Christmas party because being in that room, even with the lens of fiction, made me want to die. That it seemed like it was literally filled with some of the cast and crew's friends and kids.
Yes.
It's like the most awkward put upon thing ever. But so I guess rather than that, I will go with the scene where she bursts into Daniel's room and he's ironing his shirt with that Tommy Hilfiger lean, turns around, pants open, little bit of underwear, still shirtless, light coming into the window, because that scene writes a check this movie does not cash.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
That's part of what's so upsetting about it.
It's also just strange. Like, were you so bothered your shirt wasn't ironed in this moment?
Yeah, you get the idea that he's fit and trim every day.
Well, I mean, he doesn't
Neat.
sleep, so he's got to pick like an arbitrary time to freshen up.
I guess that's true,
Yes.
but it would make more sense if he was just entirely in his underwear. But that would have really wrote a check
You're
the movie
right.
didn't cash.
Jesus, I would have been screaming that by the end. And then she just didn't fuck him, I guess.
Dan, you get to take us home with the worst scene.
Okay. This shouldn't surprise anyone, but there are a lot of dialogue scenes when they need to involve 3 or 4 characters talking in this house. Usually it's, Kate, Daniel
God.
Forsyth, and the person who owns the inn, where it's just shot like fucking shit and very jarring. I think one of the worst is, and I'm trying to remember exactly what they were eating, but I believe one of the worst, or tied for one of the worst, is when the innkeeper and Daniel Forsyth are on the left side of the kitchen. They're near the oven, stove, whatever, and she is sitting. And they just are shot like they are in completely different areas. It's really weird. They have multiple angles, none of which really capture a good closeness to it. There are parts of the scene where the innkeeper is saying lines in the background of a shot and just completely out of focus, and it's not for a dramatic purpose, like he's looming or menacing. It's just that's how he looks, and this is the shot they used. It's not a great shot, and in the movie that is so much oatmeal, that really does stand out when it's just like we're hanging out here for a lot of dialogue, and it does not look good. There are like 4 or 5 of these in the film, but this was kind of the more memorable one.
I think the worst one of those for me is when the innkeeper is meeting with the bar owner.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Kate and Daniel are there as well.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's yet another one of these moments where they prove they cannot film 4 people talking to save their lives.
No, like madness.
Yeah. We were talking about it was taken 3 of a conversation.
Yes. 100%. Really, the only reason I give the lead to my pick is because of that moment where the innkeeper's just in the background, out of focus, just talking. And it's like, Daniel left the scene, so there's not even a point to him not being in focus. You just pulled the focus on Daniel or her, and they're gone now. But yeah, no,
he's a
that
ghost.
one's wait, the innkeeper? Oh my
Maybe.
God.
Twist.
I would appreciate one of those in this film.
Do you think he can knock her up? Because if you haven't watched our commentary or the movie, it ends with him in this weird ambiguous state where he might be alive again or he might be an immortal ghost.
Yeah, The ending of this film really shouldn't have been the source of so much debate.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not really this movie's place. I don't know. I don't know shit about the rules by the end.
Yeah, he manages to sleep before the movie ends.
They established 2 real rules. He can't leave the grounds of the inn, and he's only there for 12 days a year. And by the end of the movie, both are broken. He can't pass through matter. Everyone can see him. So is he alive again, or is he now an immortal being?
Right? Like, where did this body come from? I need to know a lot more about this universe's cosmology to say whether or not he can participate in creating an ensouled creature.
Maybe that's why they're trying to make a sequel.
Yeah, we have too many unanswered questions.
Maybe I can find the writer on social media and send her a question.
I'm sure she wouldn't remember writing this movie.
She's like, okay, I just got a DM from a person with a lot of followers, and all it says is why. Huh. Why do the mentally ill always crawl into my DM? She wonders to herself on Twitter.
I found her Twitter account, so I'll be sending her a DM after this podcast.
So, not officially on the record, but as the writer, do you think Daniel could impregnate Kate? This is important to me.
I was more just going to ask if he was alive.
This is important. Answer the question.
I mean, really, the most important question is, would that baby be his original son? And that's why he didn't survive the first time.
That is another weird element of this movie that they just don't really
have an idea
go into it all. And
Yeah.
it doesn't really have a point. It's just like, you had a son and he died and he was named after you. That's it. Anybody have any final thoughts on the spirit of Christmas?
I hope whatever wins the Curse Content Committee poll for this month is a bit more exciting, a bit more Hallmark core, and has more than 3 locations.
And for the audience who's like, but you guys already put that poll up? You know what one? We recorded this way earlier. Anybody else have any final thoughts beyond the mystery of this dude's swimmers?
I enjoy there being a mystery at the end. It's like J.G. Abrams wrote it.
So what you're saying is for the sequel, they should get Rian Johnson.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, he seems to be a great writer as long as it isn't called Star Wars.
I mean, I would love for the sequel to this for Daniel to be like, I was never a ghost. That would rule.
Spirit of Christmas, a Knives Out mystery.
This month's GigaBoots videos were brought to you by the continued support of our executive producers, such as Esme, E. Lee Broyles, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, Burning Pepsi Man, Adam Admar, Cooper Tank, and Virmvarm. Thank you very much to our executive producers, and also these gamers. If you want to support GigaBoots so we can continue the content crunch, then head on over to patreon.com/GigaBoots today.